You want to make your chord progression sound more interesting? Modal interchange is a really good way to go about it. The other day I found myself down a bit of an Open Studio rabbit hole. Are you familiar with Open Studio? They make fantastic educational content for jazz, piano and other instruments as well. Check out their stuff definitely, I'll put the links in the description. Anyway, I found a really cool video where Manness was reframing modal interchange in a really cool way. Let's have a little look and unpack what modal interchange is, and then we'll come back to this cool idea he was talking about. So what is modal interchange? So simply, modal interchange is when we borrow non-diatonic chords from a parallel key to use within our existing key. So what's a parallel key? Parallel keys are keys or scales that share the same tonic note. All the other notes can be different, but if they share the same tonic note, then they're parallel keys. So for example, C major and C minor in its various forms are parallel keys. They don't share the same notes in entirety, but they all share the same tonic note. So they're parallel keys. I don't know why they're called parallel keys though. Because if they start at the same point and they move in different directions, they're not parallel. They should be called perpendicular keys, no? Now don't confuse parallel keys with relative keys. So parallel keys, they have the same starting note but the rest of the notes are different. Whereas relative keys, they share all the same notes, but their tonic note is different. So A flat major and F minor, or A flat Ionian and F Aeolian, share all of the same notes, but they have a different root note. So those keys are relative. So make the distinction. And we can introduce these borrowed chords as little or as much as we like. Although, however, we do need to make sure that we eventually resolve back to the key that we started in. That's an important distinction to make about modal interchange. We're not actually changing key, we're just borrowing the odd chord from a parallel key, moving away from the key center temporarily, but to return back to our original key. Another characteristic of modal interchange is they tend to be short, so it might only be one chord that we move away to before coming back. So we don't really call these things key changes or modulations, because overall the key center of our piece remains the same. Because after playing these non-diatonic chords, it still feels like home when we return to the original tonic. So like I played in that progression, modal interchange can be a nice little diversion around a few chords before we make it back to our original key. But equally, modal interchange can just be the addition of one chord. So we could just take the second chord from the minor scale and use it as our penultimate chord that leads us back to the tonic. So for example, if we're in the key of C, but we're going to borrow from C minor, so the second chord from C natural minor is a D half diminished. So if I play something in C, but my penultimate chord, D half diminished, I like that cadence. That's something that I'm a fan of. Another really common example of this one chord interchange is the 4 minor. In the key of C, our 4 chord would normally be F major. But if we borrow from the parallel key of C natural minor, our 4th chord is F minor. This is a really common progression. You'll often see this come after you've played the 4 chord from the major key, you'll play the 4 chord from the minor key to resolve back to the 1. So you might have really common. Now so far all these examples have been the major scale as our home key and borrowing chords from the natural minor. Now the major key and the natural minor key are far and away the most common keys and modes of songs in Western music, and they're also the most common uses of modal interchange you'll see as well. If you look at any pop or rock song that has non-diatonic chords in, the chances are those chords come from the parallel natural minor key. That or their secondary dominant chords. So this interchange from the natural minor key is the most common. But theoretically, we can borrow chords from any other key or mode that shares the same tonic note. It's the root note of the key that this whole thing is anchored to. So actually, you've got lots of options. There's no real right or wrong way to use this. You can explore borrowing chords from wherever you like and putting them wherever you please within your chord sequence. Just be led by your ear. It's your discretion at the end of the day. Do you like it or not? So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks or ideas of ways of introducing modal interchange into some of your chord progressions. One way to do this is to replace certain chords with their respective chords from the parallel key. So if we had a chord progression like C, F, D minor, G, C. So 1, 4, 2, 5, 1. So it's a nice chord progression, but we want to make it a bit spicier. So why don't we replace the 2 chord and the 5 chord with the 2 chord and the 5 chord from the parallel harmonic minor scale. So we're in the key of C major, C harmonic minor. So if our 2 chord is the D minor 7 and the 5 chord is the G7, so it actually becomes a D half diminished, D minor 7 flat 5, and then a G7 flat 9. So our progression now would be C, F, D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 9, C. Nice. Well, let's do the same thing with the Phrygian scale. Instead of our C major scale and our chords within C major, we're going to borrow from C Phrygian scale and the chords that live within the C Phrygian scale. And we'll replace the 2 chord and the 5 chord. So we'll still have the C and the F, but our 2 is now going to be the 2 chord of the C Phrygian scale, which is a D flat, and the 5 chord, which is a G minor 7 flat 5. So that makes our chord progression now. So these both sound good, but there's no reason why we can't mix and match these things. So we could take the 2 chord from the C Phrygian, and we could take the 5 chord from the C harmonic minor, and mix them together. Really nice. So another cool way to implement this is the way that I was using at the beginning of this video, which is the way that I saw Adam Manness from Open Studio talking about. Again, this is a nice way to sort of spice up a chord progression that you already have. Now, the way that Adam was reframing it in his video, which I thought was really cool, he simply said, other than the tonic, shift all your chords up a minor third. So if we take the chord progression we were using, the 1, 4, 2, 5, and C, and apply this theory to it. So other than our tonic chords, we're going to shift everything up a minor third. So now we're going to play our 4, 2, 5 in the key of E flat major. So C and then A flat, F minor, B flat, C. Hang on, Michael. You said that modal interchange is all about parallel keys. So keys that share the same tonic root note. E flat and C don't share the same tonic. So how's this modal interchange? Good question, but we can trace this back to modal interchange. Now if you think back to the beginning when I talked about relative keys, so keys that share all the same notes and chords but don't have the same tonic note. So if we think about our new key of E flat, the relative key of E flat is C natural minor. The key of C natural minor and E flat major both share exactly the same notes and exactly the same chords. So C minor is a parallel key to C major. So what we're doing by applying this example, shifting everything up a minor third, is we're swapping our chords with the respective chords of the parent major of the parallel key that we're in. So C minor is our parallel C natural minor is our parallel key, but the parent major of C minor is E flat. So our chord progression, our 4, 2, 5, we're swapping with the 4, 2, 5 of E flat major. Does that make sense? So the chord progression I played right at the beginning of this video employs this same technique. So effectively, the chord progression I had to start with before any modal interchange was in the key of G, and I played the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 3 chord, the 2 chord as a -7 flat 5, the 5 chord, and then the 1. So if I shift everything up a minor third, B flat, so my chords in between the tonic at the beginning and the end have now all moved up a minor third. So instead of being C, B -7, A -7 flat 5 D, they're going to be shifted up a third and going to be E flat, D minor, C -7 flat 5, F7 to finish on the G. Now also with this idea, it works really well with the other minor modes of the major scale. The example we played already, this C, moving everything up a minor third, now that is using the parallel mode of the C natural minor. Now that's also, we can call that C Aeolian. So C Aeolian, parent major scale, E flat. Now if we think of C, instead of being Aeolian, as C Dorian, another minor mode of the major scale. Now the parent major scale of C Dorian is B flat major. So if we now borrow our chords, instead of being the 4, 2 and 5 from C, we're going to use the 4, 2 and 5 from B flat major. So that becomes C, E flat, C -7, F7, back to C. So unlike the Aeolian mode and the way that Open Studio framed it as shifting all our inner chords up a minor third, with the Dorian, what we're going to do is shift all our chords down a tone or a whole step. C, so F becomes an E flat, our D minor becomes a C minor, our G7 becomes an F7. And then if we think about Phrygian, so C Phrygian, the other minor mode of the major scale, the parent major scale of C Phrygian is A flat major. So now we can take our 4, 2 and 5 and play the 4, 2 and 5 of A flat major. Really nice. And so for our Phrygian interchange, what we're doing, unlike shifting everything up a minor third or down a whole tone, we're actually shifting everything down a major third. So our F becomes a D flat, our D minor becomes a B flat minor, our G7 becomes an E flat 7. So there's a couple of ideas or techniques that you can use to get you started on introducing some modal interchange into your composing or your playing. So that's modal interchange. You may also hear this called borrowed chords or modal mixture. The same thing really. I wonder how many musicians and songwriters who use these devices are even consciously using modal interchange, or whether more often than not they're just following their ears. Now I'm certain that it's not necessary to know these things in order to be a good or great musician. It certainly can be fun to pick apart and analyse things retrospectively. I think some people have this built-in compulsion to take things apart and see how they work. But I don't think we should get too bogged down in it. However, understanding the nuts and bolts of something like this, I think is a really great device for exploring something new, for taking something familiar and looking at it from a different perspective, or even just having another tool in your toolbox at your disposal. Unfortunately, most of the most commercially successful music these days, the stuff that's in the charts, is nearly completely diatonic. I listened to the UK top 10 and there's not a modal interchange in sight. But there are still songs with modal interchange being written. There are still musicians who are creating music like this, but you just have to dig a little deeper to find it. Anyway, thanks for watching, if anyone's still watching. Hope you found it useful or interesting. If you did, don't subscribe to me, subscribe to Open Studio. Those guys know what they're talking about. But thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.